Jerry McCann, cardiologist, and Kate McCann, general practitioner. The parents who always described their daughter as loving and full of life. Madeleine had two younger siblings, twins Sean and Amelie, who were 2 years old at the time of her disappearance. The family lived in Rothley, a small village in the United Kingdom, where they were well known and respected. Madeleine was born healthy, but had a minor vision problem that led to her having a coloboma in her right eye, a distinctive feature often highlighted in search campaigns. She was described as an extroverted child, full of energy and curiosity, with a very close relationship with her parents and siblings. The trip was planned as an opportunity to relax with family and friends. The group, dubbed the Tapas 7, includes close friends of the McCanns and their families, all staying at the Ocean Club Resort. David was a doctor and close friend of the McCanns. He and his wife Fiona were among the organizers of the trip. Fiona was one of the people who helped Kate McCann during the initial moments after Maddie disappeared. Fiona Payne's mother was present at the table at the Tapas restaurant that night. Unlike the others, Diana did not participate in the rotation of checking the children. Matthew, also a doctor, was one of the last people to check apartment 5A before Kate discovered Maddie's disappearance. He reported having quickly peeked around the room but saw nothing out of the ordinary. Russell was a doctor and Jane worked as a marketing analyst. Jane Tanner is a key figure in the case, due to her testimony about having seen a man carrying a child on the street near the apartment. The Ocean Club Resort is a family resort located in Praia da Luz, a quiet village in the Algarve region of Portugal. The resort offered a relaxed holiday experience, attracting mainly British tourists. The resort was not gated, had no gates or entry control, which meant that anyone else could access the areas. The McCanns stayed in apartment 5A, which was part of a suite of self-catering apartments in the resort. The apartment was on the ground floor and had a front entrance that opened onto the street and a sliding glass door at the back, which led to a small patio. The location of the apartment was relatively close to the Tapas restaurant, about 50 meters, but there was no direct line of sight to the children's room. The resort offered babysitting services available for guests who wanted direct supervision of children in the apartments. There was the option of hiring a private babysitter or leaving the children at the Night Kids Club, which operated until a specific time. The McCanns chose not to use the babysitting services offered by the resort. Instead, they decided to leave the children sleeping alone in the apartment while they had dinner with friends at the Tapas restaurant. They claimed they felt comfortable with this decision because they regularly checked on the children every 20 to 30 minutes. In the morning, the children participated in activities at the supervised kids club. During the afternoon, the family spent time by the pool. The last photo of Madeleine taken by Kate shows Maddie smiling next to Jerry and Amelie near the pool. In the early evening, the children had dinner at 5:30 p.m. with the kids club monitors before being taken back to the apartment at around 7 p.m. Jerry and Kate put Madeleine and the twins, Sean and Amelie, to bed in apartment 5A. Madeleine was placed on the bed near the bedroom window. The twins slept in nearby cribs. At 8:30 p.m., Kate and Jerry joined their friends at the Tapas restaurant, located about 50 meters from the apartment. The sliding glass door at the back of the apartment was left unlocked to facilitate checks. The Tapas 7 group decided to take turns going to the apartments to check on the children, a practice they claimed was common during the holidays. Dinner began with all the group members seated in the restaurant. During this period, the children were alone in the apartment sleeping. Jerry McCann did the first check. He reported that all the children were asleep and he did not notice anything out of the ordinary. Jerry entered through the unlocked back door. As he left, he met a British acquaintance, Jeremy Wilkins, with whom he chatted for a few minutes outside the apartment. Jane Tanner, a friend of the Tapas 7, claimed to have seen a man carrying a child on the street near apartment 5A. The man was on the other side of the street, wearing dark clothes and carrying a child in his arms. Jane described the child as blonde with pajamas similar to the ones Maddie wore. This sighting became a central piece in the kidnapping theory. Matthew Oldfield offered to check the apartments of Kate and Jerry McCann's children, and another couple. He entered apartment 5A but did not approach Madeleine's bed. He just looked through the bedroom door and saw the twins sleeping. Matthew claimed not to have noticed anything unusual, but was later criticized for not doing a thorough check. Kate McCann went to apartment 5A to check on the children. Upon entering, she noticed that the bedroom door was wider open than when she had left. When she entered the room, she noticed that Madeleine was not in bed. The window and curtains were open, something they hadn't done before they left. Kate ran back to the tapas restaurant, screaming they took Madeleine. The group panicked and immediately began searching for Madeleine in the surrounding area of the resort. Ocean Club staff and other guests joined the search. The police were called at 10:41 at night, about 40 minutes after Kate noticed Maddie was missing. The Republican National Guard arrived at the scene at around 11:10 p.m. The judicial police, responsible for more complex investigations, were only informed the following morning. Local residents, resort guests and staff helped with the search late into the night. Flashlights were used to inspect nearby terrain, including the beach and surrounding roads. Apartment 5A was accessed by several people before the police arrived, contaminating possible evidence. Friends of the McCanns, employees and even guests at the Ocean Club entered the apartment to offer help, leaving fingerprints and compromising the scene. There was no immediate alert at borders, airports or ports, which could have facilitated the escape of a possible kidnapper. Portuguese authorities were criticized for taking too long to treat the case as a possible kidnapping. The initial focus was on the possibility that Maddie had left the apartment alone. The reconstruction of the events of that night is crucial to the case. Discrepancies in the times reported by Tapas 7 group members and outside witnesses have led to doubts about the accuracy of their testimonies. Jane Tanner's account of the man carrying the child became the main indication that Madeleine was kidnapped, but her testimony was questioned. Jane's testimony was questioned because she claimed to have seen the man at the same time as Jerry McCann was talking to Jeremy Wilkins outside the apartment. Wilkins said he did not see Jane walk past them, raising doubts about the accuracy of his testimony. And neither of the men, Jerry or Jeremy, saw a man with a child, as Jane reported. Madeleine's bedroom window was open and the outer shutter had been raised. Although the McCanns claimed the shutter was closed when they left, the police found minimal signs of a break-in, raising doubts about this version. In the early days, authorities investigated possible suspects among resort employees, tourists and local residents. Special focus was given to searching for strangers sighted at the resort in the previous days. A local British resident, Robert Murat, was identified as a suspect in the early days. Witnesses claimed to have seen him near the apartment on the night of the disappearance, but Murat denied involvement and was formally cleared in 2008. Resort staff were questioned, but none were directly linked to the case. In July 2007, specialist sniffer dogs were brought in from the UK to investigate apartment 5A and the McCanns' belongings. The dogs detected a cadaver odor in several locations. These places included behind the sofa in the apartment's living room, on Kate McCann's clothes, on the key and in the trunk of the McCanns' rental car, weeks after the disappearance. There were also positive signs from the dogs on Maddie's stuffed animal and on the wardrobe in Jerry and Kate's room. When Madeleine disappeared, the initial narrative presented by the McCanns was that she was kidnapped. However, as the investigation progressed, the Portuguese police began to consider other possibilities, including a covered-up domestic accident. In September 2007, Jerry and Kate McCann were formally named accused by the judicial police. Police suggested that Madeleine may have suffered a fatal accident in the apartment. According to this theory, the McCanns, fearing the legal and social repercussions, hid the body and simulated a kidnapping. DNA samples collected from the apartment were found to be compatible with Maddie's. However, forensic experts argued that the samples were degraded and inconclusive, which weakened the claims.
McCann's behavior. The media and some Portuguese authorities questioned Jerry and Kate's behavior after Maddie's disappearance. Kate was criticized for appearing calm in public interviews while Jerry was described as calculating. Their decision to leave their children alone in the apartment while they ate dinner was widely condemned and raised doubts about their responsibility as parents. The McCanns have consistently denied any involvement in Madeleine's disappearance, and have hired lawyers and private investigators and have been active in global campaigns to find their daughter. Gerry and Kate have argued that the cadaver odor detected by the dogs could be a result of Kate's profession as a general practitioner, who often dealt with patients in serious conditions. Regarding the DNA samples, British experts reinforced that there was no conclusive evidence to link them to a crime. The McCann's global campaign has gained massive support, including celebrities such as J.K. Rowling and David Beckham. British police also defended the McCanns, saying there was not enough evidence to implicate them. In July 2008, the McCanns' defendant status was formally withdrawn and the judicial police declared that there was insufficient evidence to continue investigating the couple. Robert Murat, a British citizen resident in Portugal. Murat lived with his mother in a house called Casa Liliana, located about 150 meters from apartment 5A, where Maddie disappeared. Murat was fluent in English and Portuguese, which led him to offer help as a translator during the early days of the investigation. This proximity to the case and other factors raised suspicions. His involvement caught the attention of journalists who considered his attitude to be very enthusiastic and unusual. He was seen as someone who wanted to be in the spotlight, which generated distrust. 3 members of the Tapas 7, Jane Tanner, Russell O'Brien and Fiona Pay, claimed to have seen Murat near the apartment on the night of Madeleine's disappearance. Murat denied being out of his house that night and stated that he was with his mother. In May 2007, Murat was formally declared a defendant. His house was searched and police confiscated computers, cell phones and personal items for analysis. Police also excavated parts of the garden on his property, but found no evidence relating to Madeleine's disappearance. Forensic tests revealed no connection between Murat and Madeleine. The analysis of his electronic devices also did not reveal incriminating information. Murat has consistently stated that he was at home with his mother the night Maddie disappeared. His mother corroborated this statement. After being declared as an accused, Murat continued to cooperate with the police, vehemently denying any involvement in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. He also sued several media organizations for defamation, winning substantial damages. In July 2008, Portuguese police removed Murat's defendant status, saying there was insufficient evidence to link him to the case. He was formally acquitted and continues to live in Praia da Luz, although his reputation has been deeply affected. Christian Bruckner is a German citizen born in 1976. He has a long criminal history, including charges of child sexual abuse, possession of child pornography, theft and drug trafficking. Bruckner was convicted of rape in 2019 after attacking a 72-year-old woman at her home in Portugal in 2005. He lived in Portugal between 1995 and 2007, including periods in Praia da Luz, where Madeleine disappeared. During his stay in Portugal, Bruckner led a nomadic life, living in a van or in abandoned properties. Bruckner was in Praia da Luz at the time of Madeleine's disappearance, and phone records show that he received a call near the Ocean Club Resort on the evening of May 3, 2007. This call was made at around 8:30 p.m., approximately the same time that the McCanns went out to dinner and left the children alone in the apartment. Bruckner has a history of sexual crimes, including assaults on minors. His 2005 rape conviction in an area close to where Madeleine disappeared raised suspicions that he may have been involved in similar crimes. In 2020, German prosecutors claimed to have concrete evidence that Madeleine was dead and that Bruckner was responsible, but they did not release this evidence to the public. Alleged reports indicate that he told friends that he knew what happened to Madeleine. Despite circumstantial evidence, no direct evidence has been presented linking Bruckner to Madeleine's disappearance. There is no DNA or other physical evidence connecting him to the McCann's apartment 5A or to Madeleine. Some witnesses who provided information about Bruckner have criminal records, raising doubts about the credibility of their testimonies. Although Bruckner was in the area, it remains unclear whether he had the opportunity or motive to commit the crime in the specific time period of the disappearance. In 2020, German prosecutors said they believed Madeleine was dead and had enough evidence to consider Bruckner the prime suspect. However, to date, no formal charges have been brought against him in the Madeleine case. Bruckner continues to serve a prison sentence in Germany for other crimes, including the 2005 rape. Investigations are ongoing, but there is growing public skepticism about whether he will be formally charged or convicted over Madeleine's disappearance. Madeleine's disappearance received worldwide attention with constant headlines in Europe and the United States. The intense coverage generated debates about child safety, but also criticism of the McCann family's exposure. Gerry and Kate launched a global campaign to find Madeleine, raising funds and distributing images of her in multiple languages. They hired private investigators to follow up on leads not explored by the police. Operation Grange, launched by Scotland Yard in 2011, this operation analysed more than 40,000 documents and identified new leads. Despite the efforts, no significant discoveries were made. There have been hundreds of reports of possible sightings of Madeleine in different countries, including Morocco, Spain and even India. None have been confirmed.
Madeleine McCann disappeared under suspicious circumstances, and to this day the world has no answers. Between theories and suspects, the case is a reminder of how mysteries can defy logic. Will Madeleine's disappearance remain one of the largest enigmas in recent history, or will we eventually find out the truth?